Welcome, YouTube world, back to Therapeutic Tuesdays. I am Movement Mike Niemchak. Today I wanted to talk to you about gut smashing. What exactly is gut smashing? I'm glad you asked. Gut smashing is kind of like foam rolling or myofascial release for your abdomen and lower abdominal region. So to show you what I'm talking about, you start, if you kind of find the sternum, that chest plate, the centerpiece here, and you keep traveling down until you reach where it ends and it gets really squishy, right? We're now, I'm kind of in the organ area, right? That rib, you can kind of trace your rib cage, right? Trace the rib cage, find its apex here, where it meets in the middle. That's right underneath there in the soft tissue area is where you're going to start. Now you're going to be lying on your belly, so you'll be lying on top of this ball. And just like with other myofascial release techniques, foam rolling, you want to breathe into the ball, maybe even flex into the ball with your abs. And as you breathe out, you're melting right over this ball, right? So let's get right into it. So the first thing that you'll do, again, is finding that area up top, and I just like working from the top down. So this camera's at a good angle where you can see kind of the progression that I'll do. So I'm breathing into my nose and out to my mouth like I would always do. So I'm breathing into the ball. As I breathe out, I'm trying to melt over it. And that's really where the change happens, when you're able to allow your muscles and your body to melt over the foam roller, or in this case, this little squishy basketball, or a softball, or a supernova, or a lacrosse ball, tennis ball. You get the idea. It's that melting technique. All right, moving a little further down. And as a basic kind of rule of thumb that you should adhere to, I would recommend adhering to pretty closely. I wouldn't have anything in my stomach, or I wouldn't eat 2 hours before at least 2 hours before doing this, right? So you want to do this on an empty stomach, and for obvious reasons. You're pushing around a lot of the digestive organs. Now, it's not a bad thing. It's not going to cause an issue as far as organ damage. It shouldn't. I mean, this is a squishy ball, and there would be a lot more trauma and pain than just trying to release the diaphragm and the abdominal muscles, which is what you're doing, right? The diaphragm being the muscles that help the lungs inhale and exhale, right? So filling the lungs and then pushing the air out of the lungs. A lot of times, this energy will get trapped, and I'll explain what that means when I'm done. And the last little bit, getting into the lower abdominal section, I can really just put my shoulders and head down at this point. Give you a little view of what's going on. I'm right there in the low abdominals, right before I get to my pubic bone. You don't want to rest on the pubic bone. Again, that's not where a lot of the release is going to happen. It's going to happen between the end of your sternum, the top of the rib cage, and it's going to stop right where the pubic bone is. And you'll feel your heartbeat into the basketball. That's okay. Breathing deep into the nose, pressing against that basketball, maybe even flexing against the basketball. And as you breathe out, release. And this last part could help with the psoas muscle too, which is responsible for kind of pulling and nagging at this low back. It attaches to the majority of your lumbar sections of your spine. So kind of loosening up the psoas muscle as well, which can become irritated and tight and cause a lot of low back pain and issue. All right. That was about 2 minutes or more. Again, which is really all that I would recommend, is 2 minutes on this thing, maybe 4 if you're really tight. I did this already maybe twice last week, and really only need to do it like once every month or two, or if you're a serious competitive athlete or you train hard all the time, then of course you're going to have to do more of this. But if you're just trying to stay in shape, look good, be able to do the things that you really want to do, right? Then once or twice a month or once every 2 months is probably adequate, as long as you're doing all the other maintenance protocols to help you, which I will continue to do videos on. All right, so that pretty much covers everything. I did want to bring up the energetic kind of holding pattern that we develop. So you've heard me talk about before with the shoulders, right? So a lot of times, a lot of our stress is held in our shoulders, right? So that's where we hold a lot of our tension, a lot of our stress goes into our shoulders. And usually that causes a lot of headaches, tension in the cranial area, right? Your brain piece, the head. Another place that we often forget about is when we, like you want to say something, but you're holding it back, right? You are suppressing a natural discharge of emotion, or your ability to kind of let that emotion come out. You have to suppress it, right? Because it's not appropriate for this time, right? So what happens? We kind of hold it in our gut, right? We push it down and hold it in there. And what happens? All the musculature in this area over time gets gunked up, and it gets so tight and rigid that it's unable to release when necessary, with a deep belly breath, right? Where your belly is inflating like a balloon and deflating as you breathe in and out through your nose and mouth, all of that respectively, right? And when you're unable to do that, you start breathing shallow. Or what happens then? You're putting off a stress response. And then you're getting tension in here. So it's this vicious cycle that starts to occur. I'm not saying this is exactly the way it's going to be, but more often than not, this is what's likely going to happen. So I'm just trying to give you guys the tools necessary to help make change. If you want more detailed instruction, you are more than welcome, and I invite you to check out my different classes that I offer. And you can either sign up for them or call in. You can go to our website and kind of schedule an appointment via text or phone call. All right. I hope you have gained something from this video. If you'd like to see something else, would like me to talk about a certain subject that is in particular interest to you, please let me know. Again, find that comment section below all of the recommended videos at the bottom. Leave me a comment. Go on the different social media sites and leave me a message or a comment. I got Instagram, 2 different Facebooks. One's my personal, one's the kind of movement mic persona that I use for, the facility, the gym. All right, so check it out. Leave me a message. Just get in contact. I want to help you guys. All right, keep going, keep growing. Peace.